We start with breaking news tonight. Level 3 go now evacuations are in place for a fire burning in the town of Pomeroy. Officials are calling it the Lower Granite Fire. People living from South Deadman Road to Bratcher Grade East need to leave right now. According to the state fire marshal, that fire is about 2,000 acres in size and growing. We will continue to bring you updates as we learn more. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Firefighters all across Spokane County worked without much rest this weekend, battling 3 wildfires. But as KREM 2's Cody Proctor found out tonight, in one of those fires, crews face some aerial issues. Cody?
While flying a drone is usually a fun activity, it can actually keep firefighters from doing their job, and that's what happened this weekend.
Time's a precious thing for firefighters.
It's a fast-moving wildfire, especially one that's wind-driven. Seconds count.
And they put those seconds to good use, with crews on the ground and air support swooping in from above. But according to Ryan Roderick with the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, as crews tackled Sunday's fire by US 195 and Mullen Hill Road, air support stayed on the ground even longer, thanks to one of these. DNR says a private drone delayed their use of air support.
We cannot fly when drones are in the airspace. Thankfully, it was just a very brief delay until that drone was able to be cleared. But in wildfire, seconds matter.
Roderick says having a drone in the air at the same time as their planes and helicopters is a safety issue.
There is the potential that that drone could impact into one of the engines. It is a very, very serious safety concern.
One they're seeing more and more often. An unfortunate development, according to Roderick, considering how efficient air units are with fighting fires.
It's extremely successful when we put air on these fires. We know that for wildfires, if we can keep them to 10 acres or less, the chances of them turning into a catastrophic wildfire decrease exponentially.
So when a fire starts, DNR says one of the best things the public can do is leave the drone at home.
It is July. We still have a lot of fire season left.
And according to the U.S. Forest Service, in 2019, there were at least 20 instances of unauthorized drone flights over or near wildfires in 7 states. That includes Washington. And if you do so, it could end up costing you. It's actually a federal offense to knowingly operate a drone over a wildfire. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
All right, Cody, thank you very much. And speaking of, we are tracking multiple wildfires burning across the inland Northwest tonight, starting with the Swawilla fire on the Colville Reservation. Evacuations have shifted in that area. The level 3 go now orders are smaller and no longer include Keller, but there are still homes in the evacuation zone. Right now, that fire has burned more than 46,000 acres. It's just 26% contained tonight. We also just learned from WashDOT the Keller Ferry is expanding its service. It was previously only open for people who were evacuating. It is now open for people who live between the ferry's northbound landing and Manila Creek Road. Meantime, in North Idaho, the Gwen fire is burning more than 28,000 acres. It is 0% contained at this hour. Today, level 3 evacuations were downgraded to level 2 in Julietta, which means people who live there can return home, but should still be ready if those conditions change. The town of Kendrick also under level 2 evacuations tonight. On that note, we are seeing something that we haven't seen in quite a while, and that is rain. After weeks of heat and fire danger, it is certainly a welcome sight. But as Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo tells us tonight, it's not here to stay. Jeremy?
No, of course not. By tomorrow, we're back to sunshine and temperatures on the rise by the end of the week. Triple digits are going to make their way back into the forecast. Right now, we sit near 70 degrees with another round of light showers moving through. We've yet to measure anything that's come out of it, but it has dropped our temperatures enough. I went ahead and opened my windows, but you can do with it what you will. We sit at 83 in terms of AQI. That's moderate, and that's likely as bad as it gets tonight. As we move through the next couple of days, it is likely to stay around there with those ongoing wildfires. But check this out. There's that little bit of rain. Mark talked about a shower moving through. We've got another round of them. Chewelah, Newport, you're in them as we speak. Don't expect much, but a little bit. It's just been too dry to get that rain to really amount to anything, but we still have a little. Tomorrow morning we'll get a little more, and tomorrow afternoon a few scattered showers have the potential of moving through before we clear out and start the warming trend. Tomorrow we top out near 80 degrees, Wednesday in the mid 80s, and by Thursday, mid 90s, setting the stage for triple digits Friday and Saturday.
All right, here we go again. Jeremy, thank you very much. New tonight, a Pullman father suspected of kidnapping his 2-year-old daughter is now facing federal charges. The U.S. District Court filed an international parental kidnapping charge against Aaron Ong today. He was arrested in Santa Ana, Mexico earlier this month with his daughter and his fiancee. That was a month after Ong failed to show up for a custody exchange. He is being held in Arizona right now, waiting extradition back to Whitman County. His fiancee, Nadia Cole, was deported back to the U.S. She is not facing any charges at the moment. Also new tonight, a judge sentenced Stephen Yoler to life in prison without parole. He murdered 15-year-old Preston Dezoric more than 2 years ago. At the time, Preston received a message over Snapchat in March of 2021 from his friend, 17-year-old Daisy Red Thunder. Court documents showed that she wanted to buy a vape pen and lured him out of a Spokane Valley apartment. Daisy wasn't there, but her boyfriend Yoler was and shot Preston to death. We spoke with Preston's sister when Yoler was found guilty back in November. She said it was a big relief.
He just tried justifying the fact that he murdered a child, and that's sick to me. It was very emotional and it was very tough, especially Preston being my only sibling.
She also sat through the trial and says that Yoler lied repeatedly. His girlfriend even testified against him. Jurors found Yoler guilty of several charges, including first-degree murder. Well, tomorrow, the man accused of killing his wife and hiding her body in his freezer is expected to be arraigned. Wahid Kashifi was recently extradited from Europe 5 years after the alleged murder. Prosecutors say that Kashifi fled the country back in 2021, then called law enforcement and confessed to killing his wife. He was arrested 2 years ago in Amsterdam. His bond was set at $5 million earlier this month. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. We learn more about a 13-year-old in custody for a recent string of arsons on Spokane's South Hill. One happened at Squeaky's Car Wash. Nearby surveillance video showed 2 suspects light a fire just outside that car wash, then walk away. Then 3 days ago, police spotted a teen boy walking through the Wendy's parking lot, shining a flashlight around. The officers say he looks similar to the suspect at the car wash. Officers arrested him at a nearby apartment. Car wash patrons are hopeful, they say the arrest is the end of the fires on the South Hill.
I'm glad it didn't turn out to be some adult that had a real arson thing going on. If it's kids, maybe they can straighten them out and they won't do it anymore, I hope.
I wish that it would just stop. I wish, parents would know where their kids are so things like this wouldn't happen.
The co-owner of Squeaky's Car Wash said they plan to put in a new car wash machine. They are optimistic the new car wash will reopen in about 2 months, they said. The Spokane County Medical Examiner identified a 13-year-old girl who died in Clear Lake this weekend. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says 13-year-old Addison Schaefer jumped off a boat and did not come back up. First responders searched for several hours before her body was pulled from the lake at around 5 p.m. The medical examiner ruled her death an accident. A GoFundMe has been set up for the family. You can find a link to that on our website, KREM.com. The city of Spokane is ordering residents to conserve water. That also applies to the city's own departments. The Parks Department says it is balancing the upkeep of Spokane green space with conserving water. That means crews are up early to manually water at 6 a.m. to be done by 10 in the morning. And Fiona Dixon with the city says they are also investing in more long-term water conservation.
For the past 5 years, Parks and Rec has completed a handful of projects that save more than 70 million gallons of water a year. That includes upgrading manual outdated systems to more modern irrigation systems. We've got one going on right now at Coeur d'Alene Park where we're updating that irrigation system.
While the department maintains around 4,000 acres, she says the department's only responsible for a little more than 3% of the city's water use. And if some parks looks a bit greener, they say that's because they are focusing on watering the more heavily used areas. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But